Welcome to the Guide to Movies podcast with Joe and Sean. I am Joe. He is Sean. Sean, we are on episode 52. That's kind of crazy.
It's just absolutely lovely. You know, it's not as big as the Big 5-0, you know, but we still celebrate our birthdays.
The Big 5-0. We should share with people that one of the new things that we started doing, which is just really stupid, and I have no idea why. I think I uploaded the video, and we went from there. But we watched Ya Ya Ding Dong before we start to get us amped up, and now it's stuck in my head.
It's our real hype music is the Ya Ya Ding Dong song from Eurovision.
Ding dong, ding
quite
dong.
Wonderful.
It is quite wonderful. So we are going to dive into quite a lot of news, but before we do, we'll of course talk about what we've been watching. Two things right off the bat. One, the late breaking news that we always check for is that there is a Polly Pocket movie, and we will not fucking be talking about Polly Pocket on this podcast. The end. The other one is tonight's a big night for theaters because F9 is finally debuting. I've made a decision that I need to share with you.
Go for it.
I'm not watching it.
At all?
No, I've decided. I haven't watched any of the Fast and Furious movies. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I have zero interest in it. And as much as I want to be, that all-encompassing critic and share my thoughts and all that, the fact that it's getting torn to shreds by people, it just further cements I'm not watching it. I've decided. I actually I was supposed to go to a screening the other night, and I was like, last minute, I'm like, I'm not going.
I have the most. This is unfortunate because there's got to be on a movie podcast. There's got to be just like one white guy that's into Fast and Furious, and unfortunately, it's not me. And so I feel like I definitely I have this tricky relationship with it because I don't know if people are just ironically liking something and they're like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we took these movies seriously? And then people have done that with presidential candidates and stuff. So I don't want to actually. I get worried about that happening, and I am a movie snob, so I will stick up my nose at some movies, but I will also with entertaining action enjoy it. I am someone with these movies where I saw Fast and Furious, and I just said, "Oh, that's literally Point Break. That's literally Point Break." And then that bothered me enough, but. Then I went on to see a few others. I will say Fast 5 is just pure flawless action, really good, really well done heist, not in an ironic sense even, which is bonkers for me to say in a Fast and Furious movie. And then from there, they started to get a little confident. And then this next one, which I'll probably be seeing sometime tomorrow because I'm on summer break. So I'm just going to go to one of the weird, 11 a.m. showings. And I'm just going to go and just say, okay, so this is more of a study in the culture that we're in, why we're in, how did we get here? And what is happening? I won't say if it'll be a bad review or a good review. I think we know where I'm going on this, but I'm always fascinated by how did this happen? There's a reason I saw Cats in the theater. It wasn't because I expected it to be good. It's just, how can this happen? What's going to happen? I'm excited to see this for.
No, you're not.
I kind of listen. I'm going sometime during the day. I don't know. I mean, there's something about it that intrigues me, and I know it probably won't be that good.
You're a better man than I, because no, that's not happening. Let's dive into what we've been watching, and let's not talk about what we're skipping anymore because people might not tune in. So I, of course, am still finishing up Tribeca stuff. I have a couple more reviews to get out. Absolute delight of an event, and really well organized, especially for the virtual audience and virtual press. I really enjoyed how they handled everything, and have had the opportunity to talk to some great filmmakers and stuff, which is fun. So check those interviews out. But two movies that came out of that of Tribeca, in terms of what I've seen there and what is premiering soon. The first is I Carry You With Me, is a movie that I have been dying to see for a long time. It is about two individuals in Mexico who are gay, and one is more open about it, the other is not, but comes to America to try to build a better life and send money back for his kid, and the culture is not accepting of him and all that. It is an absolutely lovely story, and one of the best of the year in my opinion so far. Absolutely loved it. Really highly recommend it. Just does a phenomenal job of tackling some pretty deep issues in a real beautiful way. And I feel like that's a story that we haven't explored in many other cultures in terms of what we get in the cinemas here. So I definitely highly recommend that. The other one is False Positive. So False Positive comes out tomorrow. And let me tell you something. It takes some turns, but it is a good movie, in my opinion. Really enjoyed it. I'm not going to say much about it because it's just it's essentially I don't even know where to talk about or like where to go with it. It is a weird ass movie, put it that way. But it is very very well done, very well written. Is saying a lot about a female's control of her body and sort of how we view pregnancy and women who become pregnant, and sort of the male trying to control the woman, but it says so in kind of a horror thriller, and it's just really, I can't wait for you to see it because it's so like it's right up your alley totally up your alley.
I cannot wait. Does this fall under the description of the now categorized social horror, if you will? Or is this something a little bit more? So
yeah, I'd say it's social horror.
Yeah. Will we, in the world of the possible social horror fatigue, will that be happening, or is this elevated in some way? Or can you say? Well,
so I think this tackles, it's a niche. I mean, I think it's tackling issues that I don't think are overdone. In a really intriguing way. I think people are going to walk away with different messages from it, but all around the same topic, if that makes sense. It's kind of, you can read into it as deeply as you want, but there's a clear theme and clear point that the writers wanted to make. So I can't say much about it without twisting it, but I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
I ask this now because I saw the trailer for that horror film Karen, and it's at this point I'm just like, okay, now we put the social horror to bed. Like, now we're done with this. I'm not doing this anymore.
It's good. It didn't, me, like when a movie is doing something that other movies have done and it's overplayed, I'm checked out right away. This really kept my interest. Mainly because the whole time I'm like, what the fuck? I think I said that out loud multiple times. My dog was probably like, what the fuck?
Like, dude, what the fuck?
But highly recommend it. Hits Hulu tomorrow, if not tonight, because I know sometimes they release things at like 8:00 the night before they promote it. So anyway, I see on your list you're starting with Luca, and I have not seen Luca yet, and I am the one that's been like obsessive about it.
I was wondering this because I'm like, is he going to talk to me about Luca, or should I bring it up? I don't know how. I really tiptoed around this conversation with you. But
I've been stuck in Tribeca stuff, and I'm like,
yeah, that's true.
I'm like, oh, we'll be there.
It will. So I saw Luca and absolutely loved this Pixar film, and it's an interesting social experiment because everybody's reviews have started with, well, it's not top tier Pixar, and I'm like, well, top tier Pixar is some of the finest films in American cinema today. So enough of that. And I'm not even saying this is lower than that or anything of that nature. I'm just saying that this is something very different that Pixar did with various styles of information. There was somebody who it was a comment on Instagram, I believe, so I wish I could credit them, but they said it was basically a Wallace and Gromit cartoon in a Miyazaki movie, which is the greatest description of a Pixar animated film ever.
They said that about Onward too, that it was not top tier and then it got nominated for an Oscar. So
yeah, it's just annoying because when you do a top 10 of Pixar, it leaves out some of the greatest films of all time. So we cannot do this anymore with the Pixar studio. Like, we just can't. Like it's just like we can't say, well, that's the tick mark against it, is that it's not the greatest film of all time. But I look at this film and it's just this beautiful adventure, this portrait of friendship that is great. I will say, like, we all expected, like, sort of a gay subtext. There is a gay subtext, you know, for China, and it's like one of those things where it does have some like really cool symbolism in there that was very powerful. It's the friendship that blows me away more than anything with these three kids that I loved. Absolutely. There's great physical comedy in this. The character designs are wonderful for an animated film. This is like, not for an animated film sounding bad, but like, you know, like as far as animated films go, this does the right things. It checks the right boxes. It has a great like villain that, you know, is like silly, but also threatening at the right times. It has everything you really just like need perfectly for this. It's a wonderful film.
I might watch it tonight.
I cannot wait for you to see it. And the other one I saw was one that I thought you were a little bit, soft on, considering that runtime, because holy crap. And this is the Sparks Brothers documentary, which was so much fun, such a cool, energetic documentary, and was like 90 minutes too long, and it's 2 hours long. And it's one of these things where I almost wish I watched a documentary short with this, because Wright had Edgar Wright had the right amount of energy like going into this. It was so funny. There were great little sight gags, which he always does, but having them in a documentary is great. And it's just like it was just really like this great time. Then I realized that they are going through every single one of their albums, even the ones that suck, and I'm like, you could bunch some of these together. Like, you could go a little bit further here. It was one of these things where it's a 2 hour runtime, and 2 hours is not that long to sit in a theater. And so the fact that, like, you know, when it said intermission, I thought it was the end was some of the most difficult parts of it. I still gave this a pretty high grade just because it's a really good documentary about two artists that I knew nothing about, even though so many have known stuff about them. And it kind of opened up that world like in a very fun and nice way.
Yeah, I'm with you in everything you said. It is a long fucking movie, though. It seems like it is like 5 hours long. Every time that I thought it was over, it just kept going, and there was more. And, you know, there's a part in the documentary where they talk about like the crazy performances they did over the course of a month, where each night they performed another album. And I was like, are they going to do that here? Like, I feel like we're literally touching on like every day of their career their careers over the past 5 decades.
Well, like there was a moment there where it was around 2007, and I was in a theater alone, naturally, on this one, and I just literally like screamed out. I was like, "For the love of God, stop making albums! Please let this be the last one."
Yeah, it just keeps going, but it's a cool documentary. I mean, it's done really well. It definitely has the flair of someone who, like Edgar Wright, who knows how to, you know, manipulate the visuals that we're seeing, and it's kind of cool to see that done in documentary style. So
I will say, if you are a fan of like the Sparks Brothers, you actually might love this more. Absolutely. And it may not lag as much because you're like, oh yeah, the 2017 album that I'd have. It's like you might really be into that part. Where with me, it's just like I think this one is the same as the last 8. Like, please, let's keep going.
Yeah, totally with you there. Something else that keeps going is your Awards Watch weekly post on guidetomovies.com. Ding. Tell us about this week.
So this week I decided to talk about, realizing there are 5 big musicals. And by the way, there possibly could be more coming out. Some of them might get bumped a little bit further because there's some release dates that are there. But for the most part, there's 5 big musicals. And I think, is the big time musical documentary coming back? Is this it? Is this musical documentary? I'm on Sparks Brothers.
I know. I'm like, well, hey, where are you going with that?
Is the Best Picture for the musical Oscar coming back? Okay, I'm going to run this again. Is the Oscar for Best Picture for a musical coming back? There we go. Because Chicago was the last time it actually won. And Moulin Rouge was another one that was, big at that time. I think it was the year before. And so that's when the musicals were the last time they were hot. They came back a little bit in La La Land. They came back in God Help Us All, Les Mis. And it like they've peppered in, but they really have not come back. Now, we're going to probably get some discussions on them. The 5 big musicals, I'm not going to get into them. Read the column. But the 5 big musicals are In the Heights, which is in a little bit of trouble right now with, being in June, not getting a good box office, and, possible, scandal kind of stuff going on. West Side Story, where it's, December, but it's remaking a classic, but also a little bit of scandal going on with theirs in their lead. Dear Evan Hansen feels pretty overproduced. A cast of people that desperately want their Oscars, so they
people
may
need to stop shitting on this movie before it even comes out.
It looks like it's on the inside of a rain cloud.
It's about suicide.
Okay, fair. No, I mean, I don't want to really shit on it too much, but it does seem like the kind of movie I cannot see it right now. Like, garnering up many, with the exception of some supporting performance awards, garnering up many. It could.
She's getting her Oscar nom on it. Mark it.
Oh, she's definitely getting an Oscar nom. Jeez, that's gonna be nuts.
It's
gonna surpass Olivia for In the Heights, which is just gonna even be better.
In the Heights.
The last two are the biggest wild cards. Everyone's talking about Jamie, which ironically I haven't heard about. And
wait, isn't that on a streamer?
Is that a streamer? Well, that could be interesting then, which means it still could be eligible for Oscars. But I mean, Tick Tick Boom is a streamer, which is on Netflix. That one for sure. I know. That'll be interesting if everyone's talking about Jamie. It could be, now it might be Prime now that I think about it. But regardless, those two are the unknowns a little bit. They're, not as much known about them. They both have trailers out, so, check them out, see how they look. But those are the ones where they're a little bit more wild cards. We don't know if Lin-Manuel Miranda could direct a movie. He can do almost everything else. But I don't know, directing a movie, does he have that sort of visual style? Does he have too much of a visual style with Netflix saying, here's all the money? And that can, get a little bit dicey. But those are the 5 big musicals. And it's just going to be kind of nuts that we hopefully will see some musical buzz happening in the Oscar realm this week.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. There's just thinking about the number of musicals that are already out and that also will be coming out. It's kind of a big year for musicals. I've been thinking about them a lot because In the Heights underperforming, and when it's like one of my favorite movies. And I'm wondering if it's the timing of the release, if just like a June release for a musical doesn't do well.
Unfortunately with me, and no one wants to hear this anymore because they think this is just this huge excuse, but I honestly think it's HBO Max. I think that, I know everyone I know has seen In the Heights. No one I know has seen it in theaters.
Yeah.
And so I think that, granted that's anecdotal, but I don't think that that's nothing. I mean, I really think that everyone has just ended up watching it at home without having to, with the exception of subscription, without not having to pay for it. It's something I almost did. So that I think is the biggest contribution with it. And also the fact that, it's not an IP, because Conjuring, like everyone argues, Conjuring 3, that was on HBO Max, but you want to see a horror movie in theaters. And also it is, the third of a movie. So everyone knows about them and they want to see these people. They want to see Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson on the big screen. True.
Well, it's a good column. Highly recommend reading it. Check it out. And let's move on. We need to talk about Loki now that we're all caught up and, we both have watched all 3 episodes. So I'm going to ask you your thoughts on it, but I first want to say happy Pride Month to Loki, who came out in episode 3. I don't know if people caught that, but, princesses, a little bit of both. That is Loki coming out just as he is in the comics, which is awesome. So happy Pride Month, Loki. Or as like the one, what's her name? Megan Stalter on TikTok and stuff. She has a video where she goes, "Hi, gay. Happy Pride Month."
Oh my God.
We are sashaying away with deals. It's so funny. We have been supportive of everyone for 4 months. I'll send you the video. It's really funny.
I gotta look at that, yeah.
But anyway, I'm off on a tangent there. So Loki, 3 episodes in, 3 episodes ago. I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm having a good time with it. It seems like there is a lot going on under the curtain, under the hood. The writing, I think, is really fantastic. I very much did enjoy this past week, where even though not much happened in it, there were good discussions between her and Sylvie, and I think, or him and Sylvie, and I think even the taking the time to build that relationship and show kind of the human side of both of them was really interesting. Of course, we get a few, and this is spoilers if you haven't watched it, but we told you anyway. We find out that the timekeepers are kind of poaching the people that work there, their variants themselves. So there's a lot about that because we're led to believe early on that they were all kind of like born into being TVA workers and all that jazz. So this is all leading to Kang the Conqueror. I'm fully on board with that theory, that this is how we're going to see him. But what are your thoughts?
I'm a terrible fan, mainly because I thought the third episode was the weakest episode, and then also that's exactly what I wanted them to do in that episode. So this is that they decided to not build a more of a mystery here. Like, end of second episode, we see a woman. Who is it? Got a Loki crown. Like, jumps into the door. Then he does too. Then we find out that, then they decide, you know what? We're going to sit on the train. We're going to talk to each other. We're going to hash this out. And it's going to be just very, very like who's who. Maybe they're lying to each other. Maybe or maybe she's lying. Who knows? But, we at least have some stakes here where there's not some sort of annoying, the theories that are drawn up and everything like that. Because, I know theories are fun, but for me, I start to get mad at them. And I'm just because some of them turn out to be right. But I think my main issue is missing Owen Wilson here. Yeah. And you know what? Hey, they were doing what they had to do. It was a very interesting episode. It was, I don't even want to say action packed, but there was a decent amount of thrills there of trying to get from A to B, which was constantly hindered by, Loki himself most of the time. But I do enjoy the Owen Wilson of it all, because he's the one that sort of does the opposite of grounding this world, where he is someone that is just sort of, he does ground this crazy world, but he also explains it. He also shows you where you are here. And now we know that there could be something wrong with him. Yeah. The TVA could all be, different people that are basically enslaved by the three. And I think that there was already, they're in charge. We don't see them. They're obviously villains. We have that confirmation now with 3 episodes. This is the first time where I've been watching the Marvel show and being oh boy, they only have 3 episodes to wrap this up. Now I'm they got some time. They could stretch their feet. They could do a one-off episode of just Wilson chilling. They have, for the first time ever, they can relax just a little bit, even though right now they're in a little bit of a pickle. It's a little bit more relaxing to watch this show than the others.
It definitely is. I really enjoy people online that are next week they're definitely going to hit the ground running and it's going to be full steam in the final half of the season. I'm how do you know that? Where are you coming from with that? I know you don't like theories, so I'm going to tell you some. But there is one that's, I think, really kind of interesting is when in this video when Loki kind of stops the building from falling and pushes it back up, there's a lot of talk about him having a stone with him. Because in the very first episode, he kind of takes one out of that drawer when he finds all the different Infinity Stones. And of course, they don't work there, but when they're on this moon, they would work. So there's some talk about that, which I thought was interesting. The other thing that is continually fascinating to me, or I guess intriguing, is exactly who Sylvie is. Of course, we don't know for sure, but they kind of are playing her as a Lady Loki, and they're kind of playing her as, obviously her name is Sylvie, and the description of what she's doing in terms of getting in people's heads and stuff is in line with Enchantress from the comics. I know you're not a big comic guy, but there's a lot of talk. Is the character Enchantress or is the character Lady Loki? And it seems like they're kind of mixing both of them, which would be a total Marvel thing to do, or MCU thing to do, I should say. And I think I'm on board with that. It's kind of cool. But I like it. It's just, I feel like it's not too heavy and it's just fun. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Whereas Falcon and Winter Soldier seemed deeper and heavier, and WandaVision was just you had no fucking idea what was happening until the end. I've said fuck a lot already in this episode.
You've been going on it, man. This is usually my job. Like, well done.
I'm tired. So anyway, I'm really into Loki. I'm enjoying it, and I can't wait to see what's coming next. I think, like I said, we're going to get Kang the Conqueror at the end. That's kind of been, everyone's kind of been thinking about that. Where Kang the Conqueror is the big focus of, or the big bad of the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Which, back to Theory World, here's my other thought on this. Remember, and I saw this online, so I can't credit, but I actually believe in this. Remember back in Ant-Man and the Wasp, when they're in the quantum realm and they're showing, or maybe it was Ant-Man and the Wasp. Anyway, when they're in the quantum realm, they show like a city in the background, like within the quantum realm. I'm wondering if that is the TVA, like where the TVA is.
Oh God!
And that the way that they're going through time and stuff so easily is something to do with quantum realm, which would be a lead in to why we would get Kang and why Kang would be part of Quantumania. That's, I don't know. There's something going on there, and that's my theory that probably will never come true. But
now, do we think we see now? See, now I'm doing this. This is the problem. And this is one of the worst ones, because this is what people will not shut up about. But I'm going to do it now. Do we see Jonathan Majors at the?
I don't know.
That's the interesting one.
Yeah, that casting was a while ago, and wasn't he announced? Well, no, we knew about Owen Wilson ahead of time. I'm trying to think when they announced Jonathan Majors, maybe, or it may just be like a CGI nod like they did with Thanos back in the day. But it wouldn't surprise me if we did see him. I mean, that would be they said, didn't they say Loki was going to be the one that really has big repercussions for the rest of the Marvel or whatnot? They say that about every fucking show.
It seems like it with this. When they, when Miss Minutes was talking about all the timelines, I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is going to be the thing that brings everything. This is Miss Minutes, by the way.
That bitch took the week off.
But I mean, we didn't get to go back to the Mad Men headquarters. What's it called? The time heist.
We kind of did for a second.
Oh yeah, we did. It was martinis, and then
I don't know. It's gonna be fascinating to see where they go with this. So the other piece is that what's her name, Renslayer, in the show, in the comics, she is married to Kang the Conqueror, I think, or hooked up with Kang the Conqueror.
Oh, that's Mgugu.
Yeah.
Yes.
So who knows? I'm excited. That's happening. Let's jump into the news. Let's start with a story that you are very excited about. Spielberg and Netflix sitting in a tree, Kissing. Steven Spielberg's Amblin Partners has entered into an agreement with Netflix to produce multiple films per year for the streamer. This is not an exclusive deal because Amblin also has a similar deal with Universal. But it seems like the Universal one will be developing for theaters. Obviously, the Netflix one developing for the streamer, unless Netflix goes and puts them in theaters like they've been known to do with some of their higher profile films. This is kind of interesting based on the fact that Steven Spielberg pretty much took a shit on Netflix for a long time. So I don't know, kind of cool, kind of weird, kind of a sign of where we're going.
Yeah, you said that I reacted interestingly to this one. I reacted like this to the death of a high-profile celebrity. I was on my phone with several friends. I was like Adam Schefter. I was Spielberg just moved to Netflix. Sam was in the middle of her workday. I burst into her home office, and she didn't really care about that. But
I think my text message was Joe. I was like, what? Who got cast in Knives Out 2? That was what I thought.
I will say that this is nuts because Spielberg, yes, has been shitting on Netflix for the longest time. In fact, he ran a campaign against Roma because Roma was on Netflix and led the charge for Green Book to win the Best Picture Oscar for 2018. So thanks, Spielberg. Spielberg is obsessed with theaters. He's one of those old school directors that thinks every film should be seen in the theater. Hi, Spielberg, I'm with you. And also I agree with you, but times are changing. Get with it. And I guess he listened to me because apparently he's signed a deal with Netflix. I will say that With it being attached to Amblin, and I don't know if this is how this works. This is me sort of like doing my own theorizing, where there could still be content that he creates like in different studios for certain, like just for theaters. And then there could also be the content he, creates for Netflix. I'm using content intentionally. And these are movies that he's going to be making on Netflix or, possibly still in theaters if they're not within Amblin. But I'm using content intentionally because Spielberg loves to direct. You see his name under directed by or a Steven Spielberg film quite a lot. But then you see him producing a lot. And you see him bringing out a lot of production there and putting out a lot of stuff where, giving the opportunities for either younger artists or different artists or artists of friends in the case of, all of the good old fashioned Lucas and him. But I look at something like this and I think that that's what he's trying to do is he's trying to create and he's trying to reach out. And maybe he's wised up in the past 2 years, especially through a pandemic where he realized, movies kind of got saved like last year in a way. And so he understands it that way. But I just feel like he loves to bring, I don't want to say art, but I'll say art this time. He wants to bring art out there. He wants to bring art to homes while still making sure that there's the integrity of the theater. And like you said, there'll probably be a lot of Netflix films, well, because of Oscar rules, do have to be in the theater for a decent amount of time. And so he's sort of okay with that as well. But still, this might have been the most bonkers news of the year. Like, just absolutely bonkers.
It's so out of left field. But hey, I mean, again, it's a sign of things to come. I think also seeing a lot of the like Martin Scorsese's of the world and even like Leo's production company signing with Apple TV Plus. Mm-hmm. I think it's just where things are going, honestly. And Spielberg is no dummy. I'm sure this isn't where he wanted things to go, but now it's kind of like you have to adapt and you have to move forward with what you have and try to hold on to the aspects of like the normal theatrical release and business as old or business of old as much as you can. So I don't know. He's always been a pioneer, so it would be kind of cool to see him really help kind of shepherd in these new partnerships that we're seeing all over the place. And I don't know. I thought it was James Cameron at first. When you said Spielberg, I immediately thought Cameron. And I was like, oh my God, the Avatar movies are going to Netflix.
That actually would be weirder. You know what? That would be the only one that would be weirder, I think.
Yeah, kind of crazy. Other Spielberg news real quick is that I don't have an article for us on this, but apparently Universal approached him about remaking Jaws, and he was like, fuck off. So they're not doing that.
So they're not doing that.
So they're not doing that. Instead, he's directing the Meg 3. No,
I was going to say, like, the Meg is the Jaws.
The Meg is the Jaws. All right, let's talk about our next story. Mortal Kombat's Scorpion himself, oh my God, I'm going to butcher this name and I feel so bad. Haruki Sanada is the latest addition to the cast of John Wick 4, reportedly going to fill the foe role. So Keanu Reeves, again, is returning. And Japanese-British pop superstar Rina Sawayama, as well as Shamir Anderson, Bill Skarsgård, and Donnie Yen are also in the film, which I believe is currently in production, or at least getting under production shortly, and it's scheduled for release in May of next year. Great pickup, in my opinion. He was one of the best parts of Mortal Kombat. He
was the best part of Mortal Kombat, and that's not really saying a terrible amount of much, but like it was he was I'm not sure of characters' names. Was he in the very beginning?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he ruled.
He's Scorpion. Yeah.
Okay. Scorpion. Oh, Scorpion because he swings the things.
What?
Oh, that's adorable. Oh, like he swings the little things that attach to the other one.
Are you just now learning about Mortal Kombat characters?
Yes, because the movie didn't help me.
Okay.
No, it's not like they they should have done like a little Tarantino thing where it said like Scorpion across the front.
Getting excited over there.
Like, of course. Okay, yes, he was the best part of Mortal Kombat. This casting is they're stacking this thing, and they're stacking it with a lot of very famous, like a lot of very famous kung fu fighters in a way. And I'm saying kung fu, martial arts. Jesus, that's the better words to use. Goddamn, yeah, I know I'm an idiot. I knew there was something better. Oh my god, martial arts fighters, and I love where they're going down with that, because I will say the last John Wick, was great. It was a lot of fun. And to have the cool guns and stuff are fun, but the last, I think, what was it? 30 minutes was him just constantly shooting people in the same exact way. And I'm like, all right, we got to get a little bit creative here, because I keep on seeing this, which, yeah, John Wick, you're badass, but let's get something creative. And it seems like they're, upping the world. Oh my God. I'm very excited for this casting.
Yeah, it seems really good. It seems like it's going to be an absolutely crazy movie. They all are ridiculous movies, let's be real. So, he survives everything. So let's see how he survives Scorpion himself. Maybe it's a crossover. That would be really cool.
That actually, you know what? I'd be okay with that.
I would watch it. I would allow it. I also allow this casting for the live action Snow White that Disney is working on. West Side Story's Rachel Ziegler, who will also appear in next year's Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Complete side note: did you see the picture of Helen Mirren on set for Shazam?
I did. I only saw there was the poster of everybody in uniform, but that didn't seem like an on-set photo. That was like an official photo.
Yeah. She is old. But man, it looks out of place. I'm nervous about it. Let's put it that way.
They'll do stuff to it. It'll be okay.
Very nervous. But anyway, back to this. Rachel Zegler has been cast in a lead role of Snow White. Disney is remaking it as a live action film. Mark Webb of The Amazing Spider-Man fame is directing, and The Greatest Showman / Dear Evan Hansen songwriters, who also did songs for La La Land, Benj Pasek and Justin Paul, are writing new music for the film. And this has been in development for a long time, so production's apparently going to start next year. But hey, good for Disney. This is like Disney's crown jewel when they get to Snow White. So it's going to be fascinating to see how they do this. Really interested to see how they do the Seven Dwarfs. But here we are. Good casting. Another diversity casting, which I love as well. And I say that not with any focus on, labeling this as purely for diversity, but I love seeing that, all the characters in the movies, in the animated Disney movies, have been white, back in the day. So it's nice to see, even with Ariel, there's some diversity in there too. And I love that they are branching out and giving new voices to these characters in the live action films.
I love when people were upset about the Ariel casting, where it's just like, mermaids can't be black. I'm like, well, mermaids can't exist either, because they're part fish.
My Little Mermaid is white.
They could be whatever ethnicity they want to be, because that's the case here. Snow White is one that when it comes to a live action remake, I'm always someone that doesn't get mad at the live action remakes, but I'm just kind of like, okay, you're doing another, fine. I love that it is a diversity casting as well. It is because, there's, it's a different type of story that we're dealing with. And this is a fictional character. So let's see that fictional character from a different lens. And I think that's okay. And then, of course, people are going to say, we'll make a white version of Princess and the Frog. I'm like, yeah, no, give it a shot. Let's see how far you get. Because it just doesn't really, it's not the same idea. And it's not the same idea when people make that argument. Like you said, we have the Seven Dwarves. I mean, if we're going problematic, guy kisses a dead chick and she comes back to life. I know that's not totally it. And I'm sure they're going to I'm sure they already.
Sleeping Beauty.
It's Snow White too.
Does it? Oh yeah, I guess he does after the apple.
They always had that big splash ending.
Got to be saved by the man.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna really, really rehash this. I mean, if you look at Snow White, and if someone's getting upset about it being remade into live action, I mean, Snow White is literally the oldest animated feature. It's a lovely classic, but if you watch it, it's got an old as hell feel to it, where it's an update will not hurt it. and an update that will bring fresh perspectives will not hurt it. I really love the idea of this. It's going to be very interesting. I've never really given a good review to a live action remake. I've given a couple okay reviews, so I juggle that pretty nicely. I know there's a few ones you like, Joe.
The live action Lilo and Stitch is going to be banging when that hits. I can't wait.
I just love that animated one so much, though. That's my problem with that, because that's such a good animated movie. But I'm excited for this. It should be very interesting. And also, just I just want to talk about Ziegler for a second, who's having a moment getting cast in Shazam, and in I believe you correctly said the lead of West Side Story.
West Side Story, yep.
So already it's okay, so she must be doing something right. She must be good in these perspective roles if she's getting this lead role after these two happening. So we've got someone who's extremely talented, who I haven't seen on camera before, and I'm excited to see how talented she can be if she keeps on getting these roles before even the directors are loving her and the writers are loving her and everyone behind the camera is loving her. Yeah,
she's totally setting herself up. She's gonna, I think she's bursting onto the scene. That phrase, I think this is definitely an example of that, right?
Oh God, yeah.
She's going to be on our screens for quite a while, which is kind of cool. We also are getting another Everest movie. I forgot some god-awful reason. Anyway, Doug Liman from Edge of Tomorrow, Bourne Identity. He is making a film called Everest, which he hopes will be, quote, a visceral experience for audiences, one that captures the exhilaration and terror of conquering Everest. Ewan McGregor, Sam, Hugen, Hoon.
What is this?
Heughan.
Oh shit, that didn't help. Is he well known?
Yeah, no, he's a white actor. He looks like every other white guy.
Now he should play Snow White.
Hoon. He is handsome though. He's from Outlander.
God, don't. Sam's gonna run through the door.
She's like, what?
Did you say Outlander?
Sam Hoon. And Mark Strong, who just pops into everything these days. Are all on board to star. I'll just give you a little synopsis of what this is. It is 1921. Everest remains the very last great unconquered challenge on Earth. Many have sacrificed their sanity and often their lives, a lot of times their lives, in the attempt to reach its fabled summit. Not really fabled. George Mallory, Ewan McGregor, is picked by the arrogant Arthur Hinks, Strong, of the Royal Geographic Society to scale the impossible. And this is after World War. So we're going back in time. It's a period piece. I don't know. Zero interest. Absolutely zero interest. Negative zero interest. That doesn't exist. But go ahead.
What do we have? We talked about Vertical Limit on the Green Lantern podcast somehow. We talked about, or we haven't talked about, but this is also, there's literally already an Everest movie of Everest in modern times called Everest, which was fine. It was good. It was good. It was a good, fun, fine movie. I think when you get a movie of it in the, set in the 20s, it's set, or the 40s.
1921.
Yeah, this is not really going to work out that well. Doug Liman's a real hit or miss kind of guy. I'm ready to check out this miss. It's one of the things I have an issue with is this was a John Oliver piece a while ago, is that there's way too many people climbing to Everest, and therefore there's way too many Sherpas and also just tourists dying because there's there's people that are they can't get, but there's a traffic jam. So I don't know. I'm not saying that we shouldn't make movies about mountain climbing or mountain climbing Everest, but it's a little bit tricky to maybe, for lack of a better word, fetishize mountain climbing in this sort of situation where way too many people are doing this. On the other hand, it's Liman, let's do another Bourne film. Let's let's do another Edge of Tomorrow. You're great at those.
Wasn't Edge of Tomorrow 2 rumored for a while, or isn't that in the works or something?
He was going to do that should have been in the works if it wasn't. But then there was also he was going to do Liman was going to do the movie in space with Tom Cruise.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and so I guess he's bored. He's let me do a movie on a mountain.
Yeah. I don't know. Hey, more power to them. I like Ewan McGregor, so that's
very true there.
A big draw. Transformers 7 has a title, and I am thrilled.
Go off, King. This is all you.
So pumped about this. There have been rumors for a long time that they were working on developing a Beast Wars movie or a Transformers movie that like adapted Beast Wars, which is a delightful cartoon from my childhood, where Transformers turn into animals essentially, and they are, oh my gosh, what are they called again? They're the Predacons, the Maximals, and the Terrorcons. I just love that series, and the music. It's like Beast Wars. Anyway, did a video about it last year at the beginning of the pandemic about how they need to adapt it and how awesome it is. And we found out the other day that this Anthony Ramos starring film that also has Dominique Fishback co-starring with him and is going to be about him singing to Optimus Prime is going to be called Transformers Rise of the Beasts. And it is indeed going to incorporate Beast Wars. I can't wait. I'm so pumped about this. And essentially, the film's going to be set in both New York City and Peru, following a new-to-Earth Optimus Prime in his like 1990s, Generation 1, like the white and red, like old school. Peter Cullen's once again going to voice Optimus Prime. I'm really interested to see how they do all this because Optimus becomes Optimus Primal for the Beast Wars storyline. I don't know. I'm just so pumped about this. I can't wait. I love Beast Wars so much, and I've been waiting for them to do it. Took them 7 movies, but here we go.
When this announcement came in, I was just like, "Oh, this is for Joe." This was everything you want. But not just you. This is exactly, and I mean exactly what the fans wanted. And this was such a smart marketing decision on their part. Like, you don't see this from studios. You don't see them, especially from Transformers movies. You don't see them doing the right thing where they're just like, oh, wait, everybody wants Beast Wars. Let's have another, let's get Wahlberg in here.
Yeah, who are they? Warner Brothers?
It is truly wonderful. They're doing the Transformers in the proper way here. I know I let Joe go because I know nothing about really Transformers. I've seen some, the movies are silly to unbearable to pretty damn good. I'm talking about Bumblebee on that one. And I'm really looking forward to this now just because I love to see fans happy. And this is definitely a situation where, so many are happy and they're doing the right thing.
And you know what? To revitalize a somewhat stale series, in my opinion, outside of Bumblebee, this is a way to do it. I think it's really kind of cool. How are they going to do it? I have no idea because it's Rise of the Beast, but they're going back to the 90s, and it's kind of weird. Like, I don't know. Is this a different timeline?
I was going to say they are going to blend some timelines. They're going to Loki this up, like, big time.
Jesus. I don't know. I'm pumped about it. Can't wait. So excited. I believe they're aiming for it's about to get under production, right? That's why they did the press conference they did. But it's supposed to come out next summer, so I will be there. I can't wait. It's directed by Creed 2's Stephen Caple Jr. So that's the pod. No, I'm kidding.
We're done.
And we're done. No, I'm very excited about that. It's been a while since I've gotten really excited about a movie. And that, I think, is the one that is going to get me going. Or obviously, I don't think. I know that's the one that just got me going. I have no transition for this, but Ari Aster has a new movie coming out.
You could say that maybe a nerd like Sean gets going with Ari Aster movie casting news, and
putting yourself down for the transition. That's commitment to the pod.
Yeah, there we go.
So we don't know anything about this movie outside of the fact that it's going to be another A24 film. Its title is Disappointment Boulevard. And now we know who it's going to star. We knew that Joaquin Phoenix was on board, which is weird enough. Like, he's crazy. But Nathan Lane, Patti LuPone, Amy Ryan, and Kylie Rogers have joined the cast. Aster is writing and directing, and the plot is described as an intimate, decade-spanning portrait of one of the most successful entrepreneurs of all time. Is this the Cheetos movie?
Just secretly directed by Eva Longoria. I'm trying to figure out what entrepreneur Joaquin could ever be able to play, and I'm having a hard time, except for just shaving his head and being Bezos. But I'm looking at this movie, and I remember on the pod I said that when it said Joaquin Phoenix is going to be in the new Ari Aster movie, I said, oh, film Twitter is going to be so goddamn annoying. Like, this is going to be insufferable. They're going to love this movie before it even comes out. But now with the rest of this cast out, you know, it really does seem like this is going to be a huge draw. And it's interesting because Ari Aster hasn't really, well, pardon me, he's dealt with big casts, but has focused in on just single performances like Toni Collette and Florence Pugh. And so right away, it's just, you know, Ari Aster is Ari Aster going to focus on Joaquin, but what about these other, you know, pretty a little bit more than character actors here? I mean, and, you know, and Dowd, Gabriel Byrne, they also, you know, had like some like that. Those in, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Hereditary. Those are some of the actors in Hereditary that they're not exactly character actors. They're a little bit more star power to them. But I really do love that, you know, they're taking a risk with this large of a cast. And Aster's visual style going over like several decades, not working in, you know, what is considered a single setting.
Yeah.
It's just really going to be one hell of a move for him. Really ambitious on so many fronts, and I'm someone that, like, you know, I do a little poops on Aster. You know, I didn't love Midsommar, although I loved parts of it, and the same thing with Hereditary, although I loved it a little bit more. But I still, what Ari Aster does good is so good that it's worth seeing every single one.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I am not sure that it's like something that I'm super excited about because I like Hereditary. Midsommar, I did not care for.
Yeah.
I never got the hype for it. Pugh, of course, was great, but outside of her, like, I could do without. So I don't know. I feel like I still want to see more from him. Mm-hmm. So maybe this is it's quite the cast, so that should be interesting. But in terms of like excitement for it, yeah, decent, but not gonna go out of my way to like freak out about it until then, like I did the Beast Wars movie.
I wonder what horrific death will occur at the beginning of this movie, because
Patty LuPone, girl, your days are numbered.
No, she'll be fine. Who's the youngest? That person's toast.
My transitions are not coming to me tonight.
You're having some trouble, man.
I'm having some trouble.
This one's tough.
Yeah. But I'm also noticing that they put the next story is about Jake Gyllenhaal and Vanessa Kirby being in a movie together, which is joy. Can't wait. Vanessa Kirby should have won the Oscar last year. Pieces of a Woman, really good in a new movie that's out that was at Tribeca. That is slipping my mind right now in terms of what it's called. Oh my God.
Dementia. What was the movie? It was a movie about dementia.
Oh my God. It'll come to me.
Well, that's ironic as hell now that I think about
it. I know, right? She was really good in it. Didn't really love the movie, but she was great. Anyway, Jake Gyllenhaal and Vanessa Kirby are going to be starring in a movie together. They have Jake Gyllenhaal listed as Jake Gyllenhaal, Brokeback Mountain. Like, he hasn't done shit since then.
He's just Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah. But anyway, Jake Gyllenhaal and Vanessa Kirby are going to be starring in a, maybe they're starving because it's a survival thriller called Suddenly. And it is, I believe, going up at Cannes in terms of like who's going to pick it up and whatnot. That is kind of exciting. It's going to be based on the French language novel Soudain Souls, which I probably just butchered. And it follows a couple who become stranded on an island in the South Atlantic and must fight for survival when their dream journey becomes a nightmare. The novel shines a light on the dynamics of their relationship and also holds a mirror up to modern society. All in on that. That sounds phenomenal. Love both these actors. Love Jake Gyllenhaal. Love Vanessa Kirby. Destroy me. Do it.
I think what's wonderful about this is I definitely also love both of these actors, but I would never in a million years think of them together. They have such uniquely different energies, and Gyllenhaal is like, you know, more experienced, obviously, but has fluctuated his energies quite a bit, but he can go anywhere now. And Kirby is a little bit more, what is the word? A little bit more cool, a little bit more calm and collected, and she's reserved even when she is at her most emotional. And I think in this one, they're both going to have some pretty high energies if they're, you know, literally trying to survive and trying to work with that. Oh God, the energy between these two is just going to be such an interesting back and forth that I just absolutely love this idea. I just want to shout out the screenwriter is the screenwriter of A Prophet, which is from, depending on, where you live, 2010 or 2011, a beautiful, beautiful, incredible movie that is just like basically starts with a guy in a prison and just ends up him being like literally in the mob. And I remember I saw that movie, which it was about 4 hours long. And I think like nowadays it would be a 10 episode Netflix series and it would still be amazing. But it's just, oh God, just great movie.
Never saw that. Heard great things. But yeah, this sounds like a solid project. Definitely very interesting in terms of the novel that it's based on as well. I think that's a fascinating story. And it kind of gets back to like some of it's not a social horror, but it is something that I think is going to talk about modern, they said like holds a mirror up to modern society, which I think is always fun, especially with talented actors like these two. So, yeah.
I like the. Oh wait, where are we still going? Because I was going to do a transition.
The movie is called Italian Studies that she was in.
Oh yes, there we go. And I was just going to say, like it's interesting they're going to hold up to like a modern culture when they're like, probably like you said, starving in a surviving sort of world, and they'll probably be holding up like, just like looking at a mirror of Pop-Tarts.
Oh my God, we're getting a Pop-Tarts movie. That's what's happening.
No, it's oh, you introduce and then we'll talk.
Jerry Seinfeld made a joke about Pop-Tarts and decided over the pandemic he was going to write a movie about it that he's going to direct and star in. It's called Unfrosted. We don't know why it's called Unfrosted. The frosted ones are the most delicious. But it's going to Netflix, and that's the story.
I'm trying to think of if there's ever been a movie based off of a joke before. There's the movie The My Pillow guy made, but like an actual joke. I'm trying the one thing I could think of is Birbiglia's first two movies were literally his stand-up. And I'm just trying to think of that's different though, because Birbiglia is tells stories in his stand-up, but these are quick Seinfeld bits, and he's manufacturing an entire
comedy
movie off of this joke. I mean, I'm fascinated. I'm interested. I can't see this having legs. I mean, it just doesn't really work. But
so the joke came from a Netflix special that he did.
Oh, okay.
And he talked about it with the New York Times recently, where he deconstructed the joke, whatever. It recounted the moment when, as a school kid, his world was rocked by the breakfast product. Quote, how did they know that there would be a need for a frosted, fruit-filled, heated rectangle in the same shape as the box it comes in and with the same nutrition as the box it comes in? So I don't think Jerry Seinfeld is funny. I never have. So whatever.
I think. Damn, that was rough. I was trying to think of
what's the deal with Pop-Tarts?
See, that's the kind of thing is you have him there. I think that he is a, instead of we have the comedians that are A to B with their jokes or A to B to C. He is just kind of like A. And at times that's fine. At times that works. I mean, there was no arc to that joke. It was just it was literally like you just said, what's the deal with Pop-Tarts? And it's interesting because there are several comedians with Pop-Tart jokes. I looked them up the other day because this actually was something that came up before this article came out about how many comedians have Pop-Tart jokes. And so now it's starting to get very odd that this is happening. This could be like the Aristocrats, and it's just they all tell their separate Pop-Tart jokes at the very end, and it just becomes a documentary. What if
they get sued?
Too much about this.
What if they get sued for the Pop-Tarts joke, like the Pop-Tarts movie, and they're like, no, that's my joke, or I made the Pop-Tarts joke. I'm making a Pop-Tart movie. Eva Longoria is like, that was my next film.
That was the sequel to Cheetos. Yeah. It was in the universe. It was in the vending machine universe.
I want Doritos. I want to know about what else from the vending machine.
No, there's going to be one where Doritos and moon pies fight.
Swedish fish. I want to know all about these, everything. And why there's never dark chocolate and we only get milk chocolate. That needs to be answered, and that should be like a 10-episode series on Netflix.
I wonder why we have guests, and it might be to ground us a little bit.
I don't understand what you mean by that, but okay. Anyway, Scarlett Johansson is going to play the Hollywood Tower of Terror in a new movie. Scarlett Johansson is producing a new movie based on Disney's iconic ride, the Tower of Terror. Of course, is that ride that drops and you feel like you're going to lose yourself. And I don't understand how more children haven't gone flying, but that is happening. We don't know anything more about it other than Toy Story 4's Josh Cooley is writing the script. Do you remember the old Tower of Terror movie?
I was going to bring that up with Steve Guttenberg and Kirsten Dunst.
Yep. Classic. Was that a Disney Channel original?
I got to look that up and make sure.
Anyway, I'm pumped on this. I mean, I think like Disney, one of the directions they're going is they're starting to make movies about, or they're going to continue making movies about the rides and stuff, but they're doing some stuff with the park as well. There's that new series, I think it's a series that's coming to Disney Plus where it's going to be basically about like something within the theme parks. It's set in the Magic Kingdom. It could be based on the Keepers of the Kingdom, I think, is a book series that's all about like stuff coming to life, the characters coming to life and stuff, and people fighting for like to save the Magic Kingdom and stuff. That could be cool. But anyway, the Tower of Terror, I think, is a very interesting property for them to explore further. And she's a weird attachment to it, but who knows?
So it was a made-for-TV movie, but not for Disney Channel. It was for the Wonderful World of Disney. Therefore, it appeared on the Disney Channel quite a lot.
Yes. That was their like Sunday night premiere, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it's interesting that this is happening. When correct me if I'm wrong on this, and I was doing research, so you may have said it, but the Tower of Terror is turning into a Guardians of the Galaxy ride, correct?
The one in Disneyland did, or California Adventure, whichever one. That one over there is. The one in Florida is still Tower of Terror.
Very good to know. Because I was wondering, I'm like, wow, they're like tearing down their rides. Meanwhile,
yeah. Vulture has a really funny headline real quick. It's like Disney's making a Tower of Terror movie as Rock and Roller Coaster Erasure continues. Like, I don't know why. The Aerosmith ride.
That's pretty damn brilliant, actually.
It's pretty funny. Yeah, so cool.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, I'm rooting for any, new movie coming out, but yeah.
Well, man,
this is a tough one to end on because I'm just like, oh yeah, they're making a like it's tough because it's a bad elevator. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, the movie's like 3 seconds long. Like the plummet to the basement, that's the end. Like,
should we talk about Polly Pocket? Is that how you want to end?
Okay, never mind. Let's talk more. Let me try to figure out Steven Spielberg.
I'll throw in a fun story that at least it's not movie related, but this is exactly what I want to see. So people know that I love Smallville. That was one of my favorite shows growing up. One of the reasons I love Superman so much, I just thought that show did really well. Michael Rosenbaum, who is delightfully hilarious, as well as Tom Welling, who played Clark Kent. They remain really good friends. They've like released Wine together, and like it's pretty delightful. In a cameo the other day, someone asked about Smallville or like continuing or playing Superman or something along those lines, and it was revealed that they are working on an animated Smallville follow-up, animated Smallville series that will pick up from where it left off, and they're hoping to get the original actors back as the voice cast. So I'm pumped about that because, hey, they, every incarnation of one of these characters, like whether it's a TV show or it's the movies, they tell similar stories, but in different ways. And Smallville did that a lot. Like Smallville took some really weird like twists and turns. I think in the third season, there's one about like vampires in a sorority house. And my dad to this day will be like, is that the fucking vampire Superman show? But they did do some things really well, and Michael Rosenbaum in particular, I loved as Lex Luthor. John Glover as Lionel Luthor was incredible. I'm just really pumped to see where they go with that. Going to be interesting to see how they handle Allison Mack's character.
Wait, who's that?
She's the one. She plays Chloe in the show. She was a character created for the show. Quickly became everyone's like favorite. But she was the actress that was caught up in that cult in New York that was busted. Oh my god, I'm forgetting the name of it. But it was the focus of the series, The Vow, on HBO.
Oh, Nexus.
Nexus. Yep.
Yeah.
Nexus or Nexium?
Oh, Nexium.
Nexium.
Because Nexus is an actual company, right? I don't want to get sued.
We don't have money. Don't sue us.
Yeah. I was wondering, will this be under HBO Max's umbrella? Probably.
I don't know. I didn't really read too much into it, but I don't know. It sounds like it's still in like the very early stages. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up real quick. You have a phone call. Is that a landline?
It's a vacuum. Sam, darling.
Sam, we love that you keep a beautiful home. But
can you hear it now?
No.
This is great. Live. This is wonderful.
It sounded like you had a landline, and I was going to be really confused.
I was like, do I mute this? Does he hear it?
I'm trying to pull this up real quick as we're talking, but have not found it as of yet. But give me 2 seconds on that. I think it's kind of a cool thing for them to do.
I love the idea. Yeah, I really love the idea.
Yeah, it looks like it is. Let me see. Michael Rosenbaum and I are actually working on an animated series to bring those characters back to life and use as many of the original cast members as possible. Don't tell anybody, though. It's a secret. We're still working on it. He said in a cameo that was then shared on everywhere on Twitter. He also hinted at a potential Smallville marathon happening in the future. This is the 20th anniversary of the premiere of Smallville, by the way.
Oh, my God.
Isn't that nuts?
Oh, my God. That makes me feel so old.
Yeah. So there are actually no other details, but kind of exciting. There may or may not be a Smallville podcast in the works between myself and he's going to be mad that I'm announcing this now, but with Darren from Darren Movie Reviews, where we're going to go. We're going to start back at the beginning, and each week will be about an episode. So Smallville is happening, bringing it back. That's that. How do we feel?
I feel good. We did a lot of good. We did a lot of good today.
We did a lot of good.
You know what? It's time for one of those patented pats on the back.
Can we go back though to talk about Polly Pocket? Because here's my question. Remember when Polly Pocket first came out? No, I don't remember when Polly Pocket first came out. But remember when Polly Pocket was around? And they also had that, like the male version of it, the boy version was Max.
Yes.
Do you remember that? It was called like Max something? I don't know. I had them.
I had one as well. Because, having an older sister, whenever she got a toy, I got the male version of it.
Yes. Was it Mighty Max?
Mighty Max.
It was Mighty Max. And I just pulled up a picture, and that's exactly the one I had.
How is it not Mini Max? How did they blow that?
Oh my God, I'm looking at these and it's freaking me out because I remember these like
I had one where he lived in a volcano. I remember that much. Yeah. Yep. Which doesn't seem right.
Yeah, it was the big volcano thing. I had that.
The volcano, it closed down. Yep.
I had that too. And the other one I had, it was a little skull. It was the handheld one. It was a skull. That was, I think, one of the most popular ones. And then I had the snake one too. I remember the snake one. Oh my God. These are crazy. We really went off the rails here. But anyway, let's talk about
what's... We could do the Beast Wars and then a Mini Max or Mighty Max.
You know what's coming. If they're making a Polly Pocket movie, they're looking at like, how are we going to do this? But we talked about that even more than we should have when we said we weren't going to. A lot of new movies coming out this week. Good on Paper released on Netflix yesterday. F9 hits theaters tonight. False Positive on Hulu tomorrow. Fathom on Apple TV Plus tomorrow. That I haven't talked about that, but I saw that at Tribeca as well. That is a documentary on whales, and it's essentially following two scientists / researchers who are exploring and investigating the ways in which whales communicate. Really interesting. It's not one where you're just going to be like watching whales the entire time. It's really focused on the researchers. It's a good film. And tomorrow being Friday, or today, if you're listening to the pod, I'll be releasing my interview with the director and producer of that movie. So it was kind of cool. Really wild project, to be honest, and some stunning visuals. Like, all I kept thinking was, I want this for like the background on my computer. I Carry You With Me, which I talked about earlier. Werewolves Within, which I did not talk about, but and The Ice Road hits Netflix tomorrow.
Wait, so you're gonna skip F9, but you're gonna watch The Ice Road, aren't you?
I don't know. I didn't get a screener of it, and I was kind of pissed off.
You didn't get a screener of Ice Road?
No, but you know what screener I did get? America the Motion Picture.
Oh, I hate you right now. That's awesome.
But yeah, so that's all happening. If you are watching this right now, and there are a few of you on here, in less than an hour, we are going to be doing Fast Saga trivia. So just stay tuned. It is on YouTube, either the Chumpcast or myself. And next week I'm on vacation. Praise Britney and free Britney, but praise Britney. We will have a special episode out for you all. Can we talk about the Britney Spears thing real quick? Did you listen to any of that stuff yesterday?
I didn't look. So I heard this. I did the reading. I did the homework, but I mean, I watched the New York Times thing a while back, and so I sort of knew everything was going on. So when I heard the little bits, I was like, "Oh shit, okay." Like, this
is the first time that we've heard from her, besides seeing her post, like, "Yeah, I'm great. I'm happy. I've never been happier." And she basically said yesterday to the court, like, "That's bullshit. They told me to say that." Like, she's kind of like held hostage in a way.
It seems like that.
It's insane. It's and it's heartbreaking. I was really upset about it today. They also, though, like, she has an IUD in and she can't get it removed.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's insane. The conservatorship shit is insane. And I can't believe that there are situations like that where she's, what's kind of crazy too? This is another tangent. I'm sorry. But there's people were going back and finding these videos of when she was performing. And like, she talked yesterday to the court, for a good 20 minutes. And at one point she says, like, there was a time where I was on stage and I thought I was going to die because they forced me to perform and I had 105-degree fever.
Oh my God.
And people found the video where she's like, she's talking, she's walking. She's like, "Man, like, I'm not feeling well. I actually have 104-degree fever." And they're like, "That's the night." Like, it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I'm a big Britney Spears fan, and that is really sad. But, we've talked about a lot of random shit. And you talk about a lot of good stuff on Instagram. So why don't you tell people where they can find you?
Math Teacher Movies on Instagram. I do Monologue Mondays, What the Oscars Got Wrong Wednesdays, and Final Shot Fridays. I review movies of old and new, and I review TV shows of old and new. Also at guyatthemovies.com, I have Awards Watch with Math Teacher Movies, where I get into the awards. And also recently, or soon, I'm going to be getting into Everything Emmys. It's going to be my new miniseries, Everything Emmys.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it.
We'll have to come up with a new logo for that.
just make it in the shape of Ted Lasso because he's winning everything.
Yeah. My coworker just said to me last night that they just finished Ted Lasso and they're like, it was phenomenal.
It's so good.
So I still haven't watched it. So, there's that. Can you talk about Love, Victor a little bit?
Yes, I can. I'm not totally done with it, but I did the whole the transition from the first season to the second season. Where first season I thought was fine. I mean, like, there was interesting stuff. I don't see a huge difference in the second season. I think my biggest issue is this is a YA show. Yeah. And I'm not against that genre. I do not like that genre. Sometimes the pop culture, references feel very forced. There's sometimes the dialogue gets a little bit pained. I think what this show is doing is extremely important. And I think that I'm hoping that a lot of the youth are watching it, especially youth that are, not trying to find themselves right now, in some way or some other, or trying to accept themselves. I think that is, in that regard, this is a very important and beautiful show. And speaking of beautiful, the lead actor, the hell's with this guy? Like, my goodness, you look that good and you're that charming. Just get out of my face. Like, my goodness.
Wait, which lead actor are you talking about? Like
Michael
Victor?
Victor, yeah, the guy plays
yeah.
Victor. Yeah,
Yeah. He was a good casting. I like him. At first, I was a
really
little
good casting.
iffy on him, but I really like him.
Well, because he seemed like the perfect human in the first few. He really did. Like where it was just kind of like, oh wait, like you're like really witty and fun, and like you're like, it's just like, dude, you got to like have some flaws. You're killing us here. And then he does exactly that, and he does have that stuff, and it just really like does well. He's a great lead.
Yeah, I agree with that. You can find me at guidetomovies.com, Guide to Movies on Instagram, Guide to Movies 1 on Twitter. Also do some TikToks, and also there's stuff on Twitch. I don't really know what's there because I haven't checked it in a while. So, hey, exciting stuff going on. Finishing up Tribeca stuff in the next few days, taking a little time off, and then going to refocus on the second annual Guide to Movies virtual film festival, which is being planned for August. But I cannot wait to be on vacation. So if you don't see much posted in the next week, sorry. But Daddy needs some away time. Oh, man. You can listen to us anywhere that you get your podcast. Of course, on Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio. And anywhere else. So check us out, search for us, leave a comment, like, subscribe, smash that subscribe button. And other than that, Sean, we will talk soon.
See you later.
Bye.